God, this game. God, this game. I don't... Okay. Why do something you hate? It's true. This game, I was miserable. I was so exhausted from the last game I played. I did so much calculating in the last game. I'm just exhausted from the entire tournament because this is the last round. And I just don't want to play. I actually considered offering this child, this is a child by the way, a draw on move 2. Because I just felt like I was gonna lose anyway, and because I don't want to play. I can't think. Like, none of the pieces, and they don't look like chess positions, they just look like pieces of wood on a board. Like, nothing is connecting, like, nothing is working, my brain is off, and I just don't give a shit. And I wanted to offer a draw on move 2, but I didn't. I was like, I guess I'll play. E4, C5, knight F3, knight C6, knight C3, E5. So this is the second, maybe third time I got this structured in this tournament. D6, D3, bishop E7. If knight F6 too early, there's knight G5, and I lose. So we go bishop E7 first, and then knight F6 when knight G4 can be responded to with castles. That's your little learning for the day. He went bishop E3, I castle, and I went bishop E6. And to be honest, bishop E6 was kind of a strange point for me because it was a move that I didn't really remember being played ever when I looked at this line, but it's played in similar structures and other places I've seen, and it looked good to me. Like, I didn't see why it would be bad because, you know, he's taking, I'm just controlling the center more and I get the F-file. Like, the doubled pawns don't really mean anything. And it's true, like, he shouldn't take. He did, because he's a kid. And he went knight G5, and I went queen D7, and this is just great for black. And he went F4, okay? I was like, F4 seemingly hangs a pawn. And I thought for 2 minutes, and then I instantly played this move, and then this move. And here I was like, wait a minute. Why... I was going to play knight takes e4 and then rook takes f4, just winning a pawn, right? And I got to this position and I fucking talked myself out of it by blunder checking. I wanted to make absolutely sure. And the way it happened was I thought too long and in my head it got mixed up. I took with this like both ways and I thought he was going to be able to respond. He was going to have the move knight takes c5 at the end because the d pawn is pinned. I thought he was going to have knight takes c5 here. And I wouldn't be able to take because my pawn is pinned. And I'm losing my e-pawn. And I was like, oh, so it's not hanging a pawn. And then I played this move. I went knight e8 instead of knight e4. Can you see how fucked in the head I am? Like, God, thank you for the subscription, the gift sub, Matt Bud. This is such a sign of someone who wants to die. Knight e8. Knight e4 just wins, and that was my whole intention. And I could have just won the game easily and just been done. But I thought, it's like, oh, he has knight takes e5 and he's pinned. It's like, what? This pawn is still here, you fucking buffoon. Anyway, I played knight e8. I don't even want to play this fucking chess game, you know? And he goes bishop h2, and black is still doing fine. I go knight c7. This position is fine. Queen d2. And I went b5. Apparently knight d4 and black is, like, doing very, very well. Because of bishop g5 intermezzo. I didn't really consider this at all. Like, you distract the knight so you can play bishop g5, and then the queen goes somewhere and you take. And you probably block this boy off or something. And you get this square. And this knight is bad. It's all true. And then you bring the rook in. Like, that looks like it's close to winning. I didn't see any of that. I just went b5 because at this point I'm just so pissed off. I need to explain. When I realized that knight takes e4 didn't work, I didn't realize until later that it did. When I tried to show it to someone. which was embarrassing, by the way. I was done thinking. Like, I was done. I spent time figuring that out and then playing into it and then realizing it didn't work. I started playing the rest of this game instantly. So these moves, I'm just done thinking. I'm like sitting to the side of my chair. I'm like leaning away. I'm not looking. As soon as he makes a move, I make a move. Like, I just don't want to be here. I'm just miserable. So I'm not going to have a lot to say about most of these moves because they are played instantly. So at this point, I kind of felt like I was just gonna lose, and I was doing a lot of negative self-talk. And I was like, all right, I'm playing a little kid. How do we create the most little kid chances? We play c4, and then we're gonna take on c3 at some point and win with this pawn. So that's what I did. Rook b1, rook b8, queen c2, rook b6. I thought for maybe like 3 minutes on rook b6, which was a lot for me in this game. And I went here. I went d5. And this is starting to look okay for me. Like, everything is defended. I'm gonna double on the b file. If he goes here, his bishop's very bad. I can play like... I can play like bishop e7. I don't know. Like, I don't think this position is as bad as it could have been for me. If he had done something, I don't know, like knight f4 and gone after my weaknesses, you know. But he takes on c7, which I guess makes sense. Like, he would rather not have a bishop at all than have the bishop here that's entombed. So taking and then playing e5. But now I'm not really worried about being worse anymore. I mean, a little bit I am because my king's a little weak and the e-pawn could be potentially weak. The position is semi-closed and he has 2 knights and I have a knight and a bishop, but my bishop is a dark squared bishop and it's covering all the weaknesses nicely and complementing the pawns. At this point I'm like, God, just trade the queens with me. Like, I don't want to do this anymore. I swear to God I had a reason for not taking here. Like, I saw what did I see? I thought that I couldn't take this way. I don't remember what it was. I don't know. I'm not even gonna try and make sense of it. I took with the queen for whatever reason. This move pissed me off because now I'm like, what? I hate my position. I want to kill myself. I played rook f7 because I want to play rook f7, bishop f8, knight d8, and just kind of have everything defend everything. Because I'm kind of scared. And then the rook can also come over, and it's also defending the a pawn. It could also support the a pawn. So that's rook f7. Queen g6, I go knight d8. I should just go queen b2, but I'm scared. So I go knight d8. And then queen b1 is such a little kid move. Like, what? He asked me if I wanted to trade the queens, and it's like, God, yes I do. Please take the queen. So of course he takes the queen. I know I'm not worried at all about being worse. I think he offered me a draw here. There were 8 draw offers in this game, by the way. 2 of them were mine. So, long term, let's figure this out. Pawn chain attacked from back, weak. Dark squared bishop, get here, win game. Make pawns go, win game. It's all true. So at this point, I kind of start turning my brain back on a little bit. I go rook a7, takes, king... Oh no, he goes knight f4 first, attacking my guy. I just go king f7, because this is nicely defended and everything. So he's not going to push me back. Thank you for the gifts of MatLab. To want to draw. Yeah, when the kid trades the queens and offers a draw, it's like, maybe I am going to win. So I have the hope. The hope comes back to me now. Also, in the chat, I want to know how, like, predictions on how many moves this game was. This game that I wanted to offer a draw on move 2. How many moves did this end up being? I want to know. 90 plus. You are correct. So, king f1, bishop a3. And I saw all this in advance, like rook b8, king e7 is kind of forced to defend this. Rook a8, rook a1, bishop b2, takes. And now I have my bishop where the pawns go. This is still equal, but black is playing for a win here, I think. Like, 100%. It was not 140, it was not that long. So this pawn is a giant weakness. I need 2 weaknesses in order to win. That is the principle of 2 weaknesses. So he plays knight e2 to defend the pawn boy. I go bishop b2 because I do not want to get my bishop trapped, because that would be incredibly fucking stupid. King e3, knight c6, king d2, bishop a3. Hold on, there you go. Knight e1, king d7. And the point of this is that I need to make a square for my bishop. Knight c2, bishop e7. King e3. I kind of felt like king e3 was a mistake, because now I can go bishop g5 check and he can't go back this way. He either has to go to this side of the board or play knight f4. And I think knight f4 is quite a bad move. I went knight a7 because this is the knight that was defending the c pawn. And now the king can't play king d2 without hanging this. So he's gonna, in order to break the pin, he either has to play king f3 and then knight e2 anyway, and it's like, why didn't you just play king f3 in the first place? Or he has to play g3, which who knows if that's helpful or not. I played the move knight a7 to go knight b5 and attack this pawn another time, and make things more difficult for him. He went knight a3 trying to stop this idea, but I went bishop e7 back. I went bishop e7, really? Bishop e7, knight b1, and now the knight can't move that way, so I go knight b5, and now he has to play, well, he should play knight e2, I think. Like, this is defended one time. The goal should be to have as many pieces stuck defending the c-pawn as possible, and still have something to work with to make more weaknesses somewhere. He played g3, which I didn't really understand. I just went along with my plan. I went bishop d8, knight e2, bishop a5, and now both of his knights are stuck. His king can't really make progress. He played king f4, king e7, h4, and offered me a draw. And I said no, and I played king f7. So what are some possible winning plans that black has here? How did you say no? By playing king f7. The position is open, the bishop is better. The bishop is way more dynamic. Like, it can switch to either side of the board. So what needs to happen in my head, I need to rearrange things so I can get my king over to this side of the board. And then at the same time, I need to attack this from this side so that my king has a way to get in. I need these pieces tied down, and I also need the king to have to prevent me from getting my king in. And then I can attack. Like, I need to overwork his pieces, basically. I don't have, like, a, set in stone. Like, it's equal still. Like, it is objectively equal, but it's very difficult. So he plays h5, which I was kind of waiting for, because now I can access this point from a different angle. I can play bishop d8, and I can go bishop g5, and now my king can get around on the dark squares this way. So he goes g4, and I go g6. I want to create another weakness that can only be defended one way, and I want to get his king as far away from me as possible. And I want to be able to come in and attack from all angles. So king f3, takes on h5, takes. If I trade my bishop for the knight, I think there's just no way to make progress, because he does something really weird. He puts his king here and I can't get in. Takes way How many moves does it take to attack this? 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, I don't. It's kind of unclear because getting this knight to defend this pawn seems difficult, and if the king is a little too far away, it would be difficult to defend this pawn. I don't know. It's actually really interesting. I played bishop g5, and look at this little wall I have, so the king can't get in. It's pretty nasty. So he goes king f2, so we can go around this way. But now, this is something I was waiting for. I played bishop h4 check, king e3, and now I go bishop e1, and there's still a wall. His king still can't get in, and now he has to go king f3, king g2, king f1 in order to attack my bishop. And those 3 extra tempi will be pretty significant. Apparently, knight c7 is very strong here. Because I don't have to bother with that. I can just try and go take this pawn. Because after knight f4, I can just pin this. I think. Yes, I understand. So this sort of situation, I'm just bringing the king in. And I think here, this is... I'm threatening to take and then take. And I could also leave these things here and run my king this way now, and then play this move and take here. Like, this position is really starting to look like it's winning. It's really difficult for white. But I really enjoyed bishop e1. That was my favorite. So he goes king f3, king e7, now I'm bringing the king around. King g2, king d7, king f1, bishop h4, still can't get in. There's still a wall. Now he has to go around this way if he wants to get in. And my bishop is just going to keep doing this forever. The king actually, I don't really think can get over here. Except if he plays the move. Knight g1. I almost giggled. I made him put both of his knights back on the starting position. Like, come on, this is some hot endgame action. All the pieces on the back rank. Like, this is sick. And he's gonna put the king, he wants to put the king on e1. He wants to put all the pieces back. So, I think now actually bishop d8 was missed. I should have played bishop d8. Because I think this just wins the pawn, because he doesn't have time to do this, because this is something that I knew about earlier and I must have forgotten. That's another reason why he has to defend with both knights and not the king, where he has to defend from this square. So I guess I missed that. I don't know what the time situation was. King e2, I'm just kind of got my heart set on my plan. Knight h4. Bringing king in. Knight g6 was bizarre to me, because the knight is trapped now. Apparently it's fine. He wants to attack the e6 pawn. And it's true. If I get too far away, I mean, it's just a draw because I'll have too many jobs to do. Knight c7, king d1, king b7. And now my plan is to go over here, take away the knight's last square, go take the h-pawn and play king f7 and win the knight, essentially. If I can take away the d7 square for the knight is trapped, so I thought. King c2, king c8. I didn't understand why he allowed this. So somehow he can save the knight. How can he save the knight? I do not understand. Does the chat understand? It takes more. I have to include these moves as well to actually win the knight. Okay, so I guess it's not quite so bad yet. How's the knight trapped? Well, if he's going like, if he goes knight h7, I go bishop e7, and we've seen this in endgames before, where if a bishop is 2 squares away from a knight, and sometimes if the knight is 2 squares away from the bishop, it depends on the circumstances. One of the 2 pieces is completely dominated because they control all of the same squares. It's just here the knight is on the edge of the board, so the knight is the one who is trapped. So, well, he can't play knight f6 because I just take it and then I pick up this pawn and he's just lost here, like king d8. He doesn't have time for this. This is insane. So the knight is trapped. The way that he saves the knight would actually be to just go knight d2, knight f3, and take this. I suppose, like, knight d2, king d8, knight f3, here. And these squares are still defended, but now he has knight h7 and I'm actually losing because I can't take on f6. So, play like bishop e7 or something, then knight g6. And then my bishop is, yeah, and then it's draw. That makes sense. Okay. So anyway, he went knight g6, which doesn't help. I go knight e8, knight a3, knight g7, and now he can't defend this. He put all his stuff over here to defend the c-pawn, but now the h-pawn is the true target. We only wanted him to think it was the c-pawn, but really it was this the whole time. Knight b5, knight takes h5. Knight d6 check. And here is where I made a bit of a oopsie. I need to include the fact that the reason it took me a little bit to figure out if I should bring in my king first or bring in the knight first. If I bring in the king too quickly, then he has time to go do this stuff again. But after knight e8, this is a bit too slow. Because here I could just take. I think I'm still winning here, so I can easily defend this. But yeah, so knight e8 should be played first. I spent some time on that, and I also was like, I can just go do this whenever I want to. You might be noticing that I have the e7 square in my moves that I can do. Something to keep in mind. That was what I was thinking. So I am completely winning here, by the way. Who is screaming? I don't know. The tree is screaming to be put out of its misery. So he goes knight d6 check, right? Where would you put your king? He's offered me like 4 draws at this point, by the way. Not d7. Not d7. George says d7. Alright, so here's what happened in my little head. I was like, alright, I just do this. I just do this. But listen. The tournament exhaustion was really kicking in. I played king d7. Still winning. Knight f8. Wait, I'm still winning here? Oh yeah, so king e7, at this point, only here I realized that the knights make a wall and I can't get in, and I was like, oh fuck. And he's just gonna keep checking me. So I go king d7, and after knight f8, I go king e7 again, knight g6, and now I go king d8. I'm still winning here? How the fuck am I still winning here? Okay, so I played the only king move that draws. Yeah, well, okay, I'm remembering now why I played what I played. So if I go king d7 again, he goes knight c5, but it's the same thing. Wait, no, it's not. His knight's on c5 instead, so I can go here. So that doesn't help. But I'll go knight d6, and it's a different position because I'm out of check. I don't really... Why the hell did I play king c7? I played king c7 because I was like, okay, after knight d6, now I can go knight f4. I didn't look at knight c5 for a second, and now I can't defend my pawn. So there's like a one move, like, stupid. God, I gotta stop playing with scissors next to a wire. Yeah, and then when he played knight c5, I was just like completely shocked because I don't know. Knights, man. I don't know how the knights move when I play. How many moves are we? 77 moves in on round 5 of a tournament that I didn't want to play. So now it's equal again because I'm a fucking idiot. I should play king c8. Or king d7, and if knight d6, it's not check anymore, so I can just do this. And then I have this. Wait, but oh yeah, that's okay. Anyway, so I went king c7, and I can't defend this because this would actually lose. And if I try and defend it with knight g7, there's knight f8, and I still can't defend this. So I kind of was like, alright, I'll just try and run my pawn. And at this point, I didn't realize this pawn was attacked. Like, I'm just tilted and tired, and I just want to die. I went h5, which happens to be okay. But when he took my pawn, I was like, oh fuck, I didn't realize that was attacked. I was just like blundering like crazy at this point after I played like a really long maneuvering endgame to like, it was quite sad. I go king f5, and then he just kind of cashes in. And then I offered a draw here, and he said no. It's like, okay. It was knight b6, and I did have to be a little careful here, but I think the pawns are pretty easy to stop. Knight c4, king e4, knight d2 check. And now, covering this square, he can't push this pawn without losing this pawn. He can't push this pawn. He can't bring his king in to support these because of the knight. He goes here, bishop e7. And if he goes here, I still have king e4 and then takes on d4. So king d2, bishop a3, knight e1. And now everything's blockaded. We play bishop b2, knight e3, king e4 is actually, that's funny. King e4 is, actually no, that's obvious. Okay, never mind. King e4, and then I played knight d4 check. And of course I do not take this, I take this. And we agreed to a draw. After 92 moves, I wanted to offer a draw on move 2. I declined 6 draw offers. I was winning, and it still ended in a fucking draw. I didn't even want to play the fucking game, and I ended up playing for like longer than I've ever played chess, and it was still a draw. Like, how the hell does that happen? Does this happen to anyone else? I was winning at 2 different parts. Like, I was winning out of the opening, and then I was winning in the endgame, and then I just like fucked everything up. So don't play chess. Learn how to win, I guess. Yeah, I guess I'm just an asshole. The message we did this long for the lesson to don't play chess. And then, yeah. I don't know, it's like, it's almost like I knew at the start that a draw was the thing, and I, you know, if I don't want to play, I might as well just offer the draw now. I said I didn't want to play chess, and I played a 92 move game. How? God. Anyway, that's chess. Thanks for coming to my TED Talks.